Thank you for joining me on the journey. This is Completed Christianity. So, welcome back. Another episode of Being Complete. And today is first day sun worship. So, let's take a look at this. We got into this a little bit last week. And in our sun worship series here last week, we talked about how that this star, this five-pointed star, however you see it, it always occultically represents the star Sirius. And if that sounds weird, then go back and listen to that video. So, this star, it is sun worship, and here at the end, our foundational scripture for this video, here at the end, they're bowing themselves eastward to the sun. Facing east, bowing to the sun. So that star in the east and the sun rising in the east, this is sun worship. And so this sun worship of the star Sirius, it comes into play in our nation, and it comes into play every year. So at the 4th of July, this is a date that nothing happened on this date that caused this Declaration of Independence. We didn't win the war. The war had barely begun. The American Revolutionary War was from 1775 to 1783. And so there was no war won. This day was selected, and the Congress actually voted for independence 2 days before. So this date was selected because it's a particular date of sun worship whenever the sun comes into alignment with Sirius at this time of the year. And so this time of the year was when they made this declaration. And so we have this famous kind of picture of all the delegates here together, and we'll see a claim here where this scene actually never happened on this day. And that may or that may not be true, but it seems like it lends to the plausibility of being true. So you have all these delegates here. They're supposedly signing this document, and so this document of declaration is made on July 4th, and this is the date when the date and time of the year, particularly at that point, that the sun was in alignment with Sirius, and at this particular time, there's also another occurrence that happens. We'll get to that in a minute. But the Declaration of Independence date is said to be this July 4th date. This is when the sun is in alignment with Sirius, and it makes this a particular occultic, Masonic, ritualistic holiday. And so then you have the Washington Monument here, and when this was built, the cornerstone was laid on July 4th, and it was Masonically laid, and it was on this same date when the sun's in alignment with Sirius. And this particular structure, it's an obelisk. It's Egyptian, and the Egyptian obelisk always denotes sun worship. And then on the ground, you have these two circles that intersect where the obelisk is, or the Washington Monument is. You have these intersecting circles, and this is also something else from the occult. And it's said that the sun and Sirius in the sky, that they make this pattern. They have these circular motions in the sky, and then they have this intersecting part. And so this structure of the obelisk. It's always said to be a phallic symbol, or a symbol of the male reproductive organ. And in occult sex magic, these two intersecting circles, the intersecting part in there, the little ovular shape, that little part in there is recognized as the female opening. And so, what do we got going on here? So every year, our sun conjoins the star Sirius at 13.5 degrees Cancer during the first week in July. That is, as it's seen from the Earth, the sun lies in front of Sirius, which lies at the same celestial longitude as the astrological sign of Cancer in the sky. Astrologically, a conjunction is the strongest aspect celestial bodies can have. Interestingly, the major axis of the Earth's orbit is such that we are farthest from the sun on July 4th and closest on July 3rd each year, so that the beginning of our current calendar year, the Earth lies between the sun and Sirius, culminates or climaxes at its high point in its nightly path and directed on the north-south meridian line at midnight, and thus the midnight New Year's firework climactic explosions serve as the celebration of the meridian passing of Sirius as we pass between it and the sun, while the 4th of July celebrations express the explosive conjunction or divine union of our sun with Sirius. And so this is taken from Robert Wilkinson's information, but this shows here that there's this this thing going on between New Year's and July 4th, and these timings are not accidental, and we have fireworks at both of them. And these fireworks are a representation of worshiping the sun. And so we move on. This right here shows that, let's talk about the Earth being the farthest perihelion, and aphelion the closest perihelion, and farthest away aphelion. And so this date, around this time of July 4th, you have this conjunction of the sun and the moon, the sun and Sirius, and you have that the sun is the furthest away from the Earth at its aphelion. So this creates this day that occultically and masonically, it's very, very important, and this is why we have this date of July 4th. It's a date of sun worship, which makes this July 4th celebration a celebration of the sun. And you may say, oh, that's not what it means to me, but what does it mean to the Father? The Father knows what this date is, and he knows the significance of it, and he knows why people celebrate it. But he doesn't celebrate it. We don't have that in Scripture, that we should celebrate these kind of days that have these markations of the sun and stars. So Thomas McKean, one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, is cited in Declaration History, page 302. He says that no person signed it on that day or many days after. So this lends to the idea that nothing happened on this day. This day was not special to our country. Nothing happened that we should have this declaration on this day, and it was voted 2 days before, so it should be July 2nd and not July 4th. Because that's when the Congress voted on it. But then they claim this declaration was signed on the 4th. But what would be the purpose, really, if it was already voted on? The independence was already voted for. Now this declaration has to be signed. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, Thomas McKean, he's one of the signers. He signed his name on the Declaration of Independence, and about 20 years later, in his writings, he had said that no person signed it on July 4th, nor for many days after. Although people like Franklin and Thomas and Adams, they always maintained that everyone signed it on July 4th, 1776. And in 1796, that's 20 years later, the same guy, Thomas McKean, he disputed that the Declaration had been signed on July 4th, pointing that some of the signers were not present, including several who were not even elected to Congress until after that date. So, supposedly, there were several signers that weren't even elected to the Congress until later than July 4th, 1776. So in the Secret Journal's entry for July 19th, thus reads, resolved that the Declaration passed on July 4th be fairly engrossed on parchment with title and style of the unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States of America, and that the same when engrossed be signed by every member of Congress. So this, the U.S. Continental Congress secret journals that were published, I believe, in the 1880s, on this entry for July 19, 1776, it's saying that this declaration, it hadn't even been embossed on parchment yet, nor had anybody signed it as of the 19th. Another entry for August 2nd, we come to August 2nd in the secret journals, it says the Declaration of Independence being engrossed and compared at the table was signed by the members. So it's saying that it was signed by members on August 2nd. And David McCullough, he articulates in his biography of John Adams that no such scene with all delegates present ever occurred at Philadelphia. And so we have this idea of nothing special happened this day, but this day had to be because of the day that it was. So this document, with all these people signing at the bottom, it may not have happened on that day as we're told, but it may have just been assigned to that day because of what the day is, because the day is a special day, not a special day to our country at that time, but it was a special day occultically and masonically. And this happy birthday to the 4th of July, we have in our country this date that we really shouldn't have. If we're a nation that is founded on the Scripture, if we're a nation that's founded on the Scripture, we should be keeping the days that our Father has for us to keep. Psalm 89:34, my covenant I will not break, nor alter the word that has gone out of my lips. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Comment down below. Comments of opposition are welcome. Just don't say anything dumb like we're not under the law. We're under grace because you've been taught to use that verse outside of the bounds of its intended context. Subscribe now. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you get notifications of all future videos.